All right, so I haven't done a video in a long time. I had a job change and had to suddenly start working more to be able to keep my family in a house. The update is I kind of took a year off trying to just pretend none of this was real, and actually started becoming a lot more active and feel really good now. I saw one doctor who suggested I actually start doing more physical activity, and turns out he was right. So I started skating every day, 1 to 2 hours a day. That has been tremendously helpful. My pain has gone way down. And my update is that I got my urine cobalt tested, and it came back really high. And then it turns out my creatinine is high, which means my kidneys are failing. And so I'm going back to the surgeon that I initially saw here in Austin, who said most of the problem is coming from the stems running down my femurs, but that he would never try to take them out because it's like getting rebar out of concrete, and he said I would never walk again, so he just wouldn't do it. That's also what the new head of the medical hospital here said, who's an orthopedic surgeon. He's like, I wouldn't even try, I wouldn't touch you. So seems like everybody would prefer to let me get kidney failure and heart failure. So that gets to happen slowly and appears to be happening. I don't know about my heart. I haven't had an EKG or anything like that yet. So I called that surgeon back with the results of the creatinine, the kidney damage test. And I'm waiting to hear from him, even though it doesn't really matter because he won't take out what I need to have taken out. What he said was causing most of the damage. Also, I called Dr. Stephen Tower in Alaska because he himself, though an orthopedic surgeon, got poisoned by his metal on metal hips. And so I thought, if that's what it takes, I'll drive up to Alaska, and maybe he'll have some compassion knowing what this does to people, and will agree to take it all out. But I was just told he doesn't operate on anyone except people who live in Alaska, and he doesn't know anyone outside of Alaska who might do this for me. So that's the latest. Not very promising, except that I feel great. I have constant ringing in my ears, and I have heart fluttering, but maybe that's just stress. The tests do show there's something wrong with my kidneys, which have been hurting for a year now, my left kidney specifically. I've been to a urologist, and she's like, I don't know, it's probably back pain. Go away. So nobody really seems to care. Nobody who could actually possibly help me. And that's the discouraging part. So that's the latest with us. So I'm just going to keep, I guess now I have to really, in earnest, try to find somebody to take this stuff out of me. I was just kind of hoping it wasn't real and hoping it wouldn't happen to me, but the numbers are showing that it is happening to me. And so I'd like to get this stuff out before it ruins my heart and kidneys, before I end up with cardiomyopathy, like has happened to so many other of my friends who also had these metal on metal hips. I have the DePuy Pinnacle in each side. That's the ball and socket. And then I have the SROM stems, which are multi-part metal stems going down each leg. I may be forced to get back in touch with the doctor who put this in me, because although I don't really want to see him again, I feel like he should have known. I feel like he's the only one who actually has a responsibility, since he put it in, to take it out. Does that mean he'll see me, or does that mean he will take it out? Does that mean he's even able to get the stems out of my femurs? Possibly not. So it's not looking very promising, but I figured I should let you know. So if you're having the same problems, or just so you realize that this is a real thing and it's happening to a real person, thanks to the decisions made by Johnson & Johnson. Oh, the other one bit of good news is the lead plaintiff's attorney, who handled all the cases that just got tried over the past 2 years in Dallas, the huge verdicts against Johnson & Johnson decided by the jury in federal court regarding the Pinnacle hips. Someone from his office did call me back, and they seemed to be willing to let me interview Mark Lanier. So I hope to get a story produced out of that, and B, I hope to get some answers on, because I couldn't go to the whole trial, the federal trial in Dallas that ended, I believe in December. I went to the closing arguments, and it was, pretty shocking, and the verdict came back, I think it was $1.2 billion for the 6 people who were suing the company. So I really wanted to find out what he found and what he presented at trial, because it was enough to convince those 12 people that what Johnson & Johnson did knowingly, and then what it did to hide what it had done in producing these metal-on-metal hips, was egregious and awful. So I can't wait to interview him, although I'm sure it will probably convince me and make me even more sure that this stuff is bad, and even though I may not be able to get it out. So that's it. I hope to do that after March 15th, and I hope to produce a good story of at least this one attorney's version of exactly and specifically what Johnson & Johnson did in making these hips, knowing they were bad, altering the marketing material that it sent to doctors. I hope to get into the really specific things I've found out that have come from, this one attorney in Houston who got the documents and got internal memos at Johnson & Johnson and presented it all in a way that convinced the jury that what they did was horrific and awful, and how these devices were never tested on humans before they were put in people like me. So that's it. I'll report back the latest later. Be well. Love you all. Thank you. Bye.